Hey guys, welcome to another 10 cards, 1 kit using the Love from Lizi November card kit. We're going to jump right in, and I have already cut down some pattern paper, and I'm going to be using this mirror cardstock that came in the kit to create a gift. Use this as what would be my ribbon. This kit is sold out. It's sold out fairly quickly. Vicky she has a YouTube channel. I'm sure you guys know her. She's huge. And her blog is called Clips and Cuts. She featured the video, and shortly after her video, the kit sold out, which was to be expected. So that was very exciting for Lizi to have such a big content creator feature her kit. However, I will list below the Festive Forest bumper pack. It's very similar to the kit, less product, but you'll get the pattern paper, the stickers, and some punch outs, tags, and such. So this card was actually my husband's idea. I was sitting at the desk thinking, I don't know what to do with this kit. It was adorable, loved working with it, but I really was stumped at card ideas. So we said, we'll make one look like a gift. So I'm like, well, I've done that before. I'll do it again. So I used the mirror cardstock to be the ribbon, like I said, and here I'm using some of the ribbon for the bow. And then I add one of the little tags and go ahead and tuck that in there, and that will complete card 1. For card 2, this was also my husband's idea. He was like, make this little like a family portrait, this scene. So I like to create a big frame like this glitter piece. And what I do is I just take 2 rectangle dies, tape them together, and cut them out using my Big Shot. There are dies where you could purchase that cut this frame out, a thicker frame, but I would rather buy something else than a die that does that, because I know I can create the same effect just using 2 rectangle dies. And you could do that with circles, squares, whatever has several different size dies, like the rectangle one I used today. So this kit was I think it's Lizi's most delicate kit. Very soft colors. The creatures are very dainty. The colors are light. The patterns are light. Look how thin the line is in the drawing of the pattern. So it's very delicate. So my cards are very simple. Plus the fact that I am so behind on my card making because I've had craft fairs, and then as you're watching this, I'll either have just landed or be on a plane to Florida for a Stampin' Up! Their on-stage event. So I'm so behind. And it's like, I wanted to do a fall series. I didn't get any cards out this week. Christmas series, I don't know when I'm going to start that. So I may just stop saying that I'm doing a series and just do the best I can. So anyway, point is, my cards are simple because I'm running out of time. And I wanted to get this out before I left, because if I didn't, I was going to be running into Lizi's going to start her sneak peeks around the 11th, if not on the 11th. And I didn't want to get the video out when sneak peeks of the next kit are coming out. So anyway, card 3. I finished card 2. Didn't even tell you anything about it, so hopefully you got it. Like I said, these cards are fairly easy. Card 3, I went ahead and cut all those. This was the pattern paper that had kind of the little decorations in the corner, and I cut all the corner pieces off. And I just wanted the plain green, and I wanted it to match. I'm going to go ahead and attach it, and then I end up actually taking that off, what I just attached, because it was too low. I wanted more of the bottom pattern paper to show up, so I do that here in a moment and fix it. By the way, I'm still trying out this new mic. In the first part of the video, I think I was too close to it, so sorry if it sounds muffled. Let me know if the sound quality is bad. I think the trick is to kind of have it a little bit away from me, but hoping it's a better sound quality. Anyway, so here I've removed it. I've reattached it. I'm going to add a couple of the peel-offs. And I decided to add another one just to kind of create 2 layers. Me taking that green solid paper off, it's very thin paper. So I had to be very careful, and it's a little crinkled, but, you know, looking at the end result, the sentiment and the deer piece I use actually cover up a lot of it, a lot of where the flaws are, so you can't, like right there, you can kind of see some bumps. You can't notice, thankfully, or you don't notice, thankfully, so that worked out well. Here I'm stamping out one of the sentiments from the stamp set, Hello Winter, and I'm using that new Honeycut deckled edge circle die to cut it out. If you watched that haul video, I had said these remind me of tree rings when they were all together, but I loved like the deckled edge because it kind of reminds me of like a tree stump, something like that. You know, hopefully you know what I mean. Like if you cut a tree and you looked at it from the top. Anyway, I love these felt pieces that came in the kit. I go ahead and use the deer and attach it. And then I go ahead and just attach my card to the card base. Now with the felt piece, I used wet adhesive, but it did not work. I had to actually go back and add tape adhesive, some double-sided tape, so the deer would stick. This fourth card is my favorite card. This is a sugar pea. Again, if you watched that huge haul I recently did, this is a sugar pea die. And I cut it out. It's a full A2 size panel. I just used white cardstock and I'm adhering it to this pretty blue pattern paper. And if you notice, there's some embossing done. I actually thought it would emboss more, but there's probably user error on my part. So, you know, I'll have to keep working with it, but I loved it so much. I mean, I love that die so much, and I love the way it made this card look. I went ahead and used another circle deckled edge die cut from Honeybee and cut out a piece of the vellum, and then I'm going ahead and attaching this rabbit. I'm going to attach that to the center of the card. This is my favorite card, like I said. I just think it's so pretty. And then I go ahead and attach this bow. I love this ribbon from the kit. And then I'll attach my sentiment, Winter Wishes. And then I do go ahead and take the Nuvo drops and add a few Nuvo drops around the card. And that will complete that card. For card 5, I'm taking this piece of pattern paper. I used a circle die to cut out the center of this little animal scene. And I'm just going to attach it to this. Well, first, I'm taking a sentiment and adding a little bit of the glitter paper underneath, peeking out from the sentiment. Going to go ahead and attach this to the piece of pattern paper. Use one of these wood chip trees, and then I go ahead and attach the sentiment, and then I will add a few sequins. I use some dimensional squares to attach the sentiment. I attach it crooked, but I do end up fiddling with it and fixing it. I think the sentiment was on straight. It's the glitter paper that I attached crooked, so it gave that illusion that the whole thing was crooked. Attach it to the craft cardstock, or card base. The kit did come with some white cardstock. It's alcohol marker friendly, so I like to save that. I put it aside, and the white card bases you see are from my own stash. I just use Recollections white cardstock. For the next card, I am using two of these tag dies. Two of the tag pieces. I trim off the silver so it's more the size of the Merry and Bright. I just trimmed off the bottom. Here I'm adding glue dots to the Snowflake foam piece. I'm sure I've said it. I know I said it in the unboxing. I don't know if I said it here, but I love the foam pieces. I'm calling them foam pieces, but they're felt. Hello. I love the felt pieces from the kit. Those are so cool to work with. They're nice and stiff, and I think they just add so much to the card. It's just different, something that I haven't worked with. I really like it. Go ahead and add a bow. And then I will add a couple of these little stars that came in the kit after I attach it to a white card base. Really went well together. Those stars just kind of added something, and they go well with the glittered key. What am I talking about? The glittered tag. And that completes that card. So for card 7, I decided I need to use the stamp. This is a infinity stamp. And so I am being brave, and I'm using it without a stamping positioning tool. I was just going to go for it. And you will not believe how perfect I get it lined up. Look at that. I was like, what? What is going on? So I keep going, and I was so proud of myself, which is silly, but I aligned that stamp up perfectly. Now, first of all, I'm doing it without a stamping positioning tool. That's tricky. Second, this ink is very light. So for me, the darker the ink, I can see through it better to line it up. But look at that. You couldn't tell me where that stamp ends and where the new one begins. It was perfect. So easy to do. And so much fun. I love those infinity stamps. I love the seashells from a previous kit, and then the snowflake one is just so cool. I go ahead and use some of the glitter cardstock to add a snowbank, and then I'm going to go ahead and bust out these stickers. These stickers are very delicate and thin. So here I am, you know, like what I usually like to do, get rid of the stickiness, add some dimensionals. Personally, I would not do this again. I would use them as stickers, unless you stick them to cardstock and cut them out if you want to add some dimension. The stickers are very thin, so it's very difficult to add the dimension without it kind of dipping in certain areas. And I don't know, they're just not thick enough to do what I like to do with stickers. So if you do this, I would use them as stickers. Just like I did the trees there on the right, I just attached them to the paper. The deer, it worked out fine, but it was a little tricky. I added a lot of Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of those deer just to kind of make sure they were solid and weren't going to get pressed down and tear because they are that thin. I go ahead and add my sentiment, and then I go ahead and add some more of these Nuvo drops. Love the Nuvo drops. Great little embellishment for the cards. So for this card, I wanted to use I had 3 left of the little tree wood chip thingies. I go ahead and attach them with glue, and then I pop up the third one, the center one. And you can color these with your alcohol markers. I personally like the natural look, especially with that green paper. So this step can be omitted, but I'm showing you anyway. I left it in. So I held up a glitter piece of the glitter paper, held up a piece of the glitter paper behind the burlap, and you could see the sparkle through the burlap. I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is going to look pretty. So I glued my sparkle paper down, and then I added the tape adhesive. Well, you can't see any sparkle through the burlap, so that was a complete waste of sparkle paper. So don't do that. I think the adhesive is what covered it up and caused it. You couldn't see through it, but it was a good idea before adding tape adhesive. Maybe if you add a little bit of glue dots instead of a full strip of tape adhesive, that might work. I don't know, worth giving it a shot because it was pretty when I did it before adhering it. So for card 9, this is extremely simple card. I used some Pink and Main hexagon dies, and I cut out that big piece, the white pattern paper. and adhered a snowflake and a sentiment, and then that is it. So really simple. Like I said, I love the felt, so I kind of wanted that just to kind of shine on the card without too much going on. For the final card, I wanted to use the little snowflakes that came in the kit, in the stamp set. I'm using Versamark, and I am just stamping a cluster of snowflakes all over the card panel. Now, you can't really see it, but when it dries, it's amazing how much it shows up. So here in a moment, when I start decorating the card, you'll see just how much these snowflakes show up. So as you can see, it's dried and you can see them. I don't have to tilt it in the light for you to see, for them to show up. So it's a great tone-on-tone effect. I take one of the tags and I tie ribbon to it so it appears to be an ornament. Go ahead and tie a bow. Usually if I was using several layers of cardstock, I would wrap the ribbon around it, but I didn't want to wrap it around the card base because then when you open the card, you would see the ribbon. And then I attached a sentiment, and that was it. So here's everything I have left over in the kit. As always, I have a ton of product left over that I will save for another project. And a lot of the stuff, well, not a lot, but some of the stuff I didn't even use. I didn't even use the stencil, washi tape. Some of the ribbon I didn't use. The dies I really didn't use. The reindeer one. Jingle bells I didn't use. So a ton left over. Definitely go over and join Lizi's Facebook group because some of the ladies over there will create like 30 plus cards with one kit. And they'll post pictures and it's amazing how much you can get out of one kit. So if you have any questions, let me know. Links for Lizi's shop and all that will be below, as well as the Festive Foras bumper pack. I'll have that listed below as well if you're interested in that. And stay tuned for sneak peeks that start next week. Definitely go over to Lizi's Instagram page and follow her to see that. So those are always exciting. And I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.